So we're just leaving the Inveroran hotel. There's Andy.
How are you doing? You alright?
So we've just had a few snacks. They do actually do sandwiches there, which is the first place I've seen sandwiches. So it's quite nice to get some proper food in, really. Had a few snacks as well, like chocolate bars, can of Coke, and a bit refreshed and ready to go. So we're off on, we've done 5 out of the 8 stages now. We're off on the 6th stage from Inveroran Hotel up towards, I think it's called Kingshouse is the end of this stage. It's a similar sort of between 9 and 10 miles. Probably going to take us some time in the region between 4 and 5 hours. So let's see how it goes. So just about 20 minutes into the walk from the Inverarnan Hotel. It's actually a box here for ice cold drinks for £1 outside Forest Lodge. So probably about half the price of the drinks at the Inverarnan Hotel. It was a little bit expensive there. So we're just short of 14 miles into our day today, leaving from stage 5. That's probably about between 4 and 5 miles into stage 6. So just going to pan it round, and in the distance I believe we drop down a little bit into this forest. We go over to this path on the left, and then just above the trees there's another path we go up, and that's the last climb of stage 6. You'll be dropping back down into King something, whatever it's called, I forgot the name, but the end of stage 6 anyway. Would you look at that? So we're checking in from a final climb of stage 6. So we're going over towards Kingshouses from just past from Inveroran Hotel. So the terrain's been pretty good the whole way. We've been able to make good progress over this section for the last 5 or 6 miles since lunchtime. And if I just pan it round, in a minute we're going to be heading over a bit of a crest in front of us, and then we've got a couple of miles downhill to end stage 6. So just in that direction there, we're heading over towards this peak here. The path will go over the peak and then dip down the other side. We're very close to the end of stage 6 now, so we're just on the descent towards Kingshouses, which when I spin this round will be just in front of us, we can see. So the tall peak you can see there, you're actually doing some skiing off in these hills. That's the Glencoe Mountain Resort, and we're heading in this direction towards Kingshouses, and then I think the path carries on in that way in a similar direction to the road.
Where are we, Sam?
A passing place, mate.
Oh, what are you passing me for?
It says up there.
Oh, right.
So we're back out on the road again. So done stage 6. That was the Kingshouse Hotel, a lovely hotel. Got a pie each, didn't we, Andy?
Got a pie. Pie to go.
A pie to go. So chicken curry and a macaroni. Yeah, lovely place to stop. Really good, like sort of ski chalet sort of. If you went into the hotel bit, very nice hotel. Probably the best one we've passed on the route so far. Good food, nice and warm in there.
Good wild camping spot.
Yeah, wild camping spot just in here. Milngavie over there. But we go on. We've got cracking on to stage 7. We've got a bit of ground to make up to try and get as close as we can to Kinlochleven, which is 9 to 10 miles away for tonight, which is stage 7 that finishes at Kinlochleven. So yeah, we're trying to get over the Devil's Staircase and try and find a wild camp spot somewhere en route. Here it is, the Devil's Staircase. Got that zigzag to do. Here's a Devil's Staircase, just on the way down. We're probably at about 510 metres. Good morning, it's now Friday, and just let you know where we pitched up last night. So we did a bit of a wild camp. We found, looks like there's a bit of a sort of water treatment works over here. There was some flat ground that we used to camp up on just down here, and woke up to views over sort of that valley and the mountain range, which was absolutely fantastic. The only thing that wasn't great about this was the amount of midges, so we've been quite lucky with avoiding all of the midges so far, but there's swarms of them around here, so we're going to get underway for today. Today we've got, I think, about 4 or 5k, probably only 4k before Kinlochleven, which we can see just down the path here, and then it is 24 kilometres for the last stage that goes towards Fort William. Andy going for the sneaky shortcut.
Oh, now you put it on there?
Yep.
That means we're on, doesn't it?
There we go, look, Andy's spotted a nice infinity pool. There we go, could have sat in that, had views over the dam. It's quite a spiral descent down this track from the end of the Devil's Staircase towards Kinlochleven. Nice views there. So we're nearly in Kinlochleven now, so there's Blackwater Hostel there you can stop at. Got some lodges, bit of camping. We're probably only about sort of 500 metres from Kinlochleven now, so that'll be the end of stage 7 and just stage 8, the final stage left to do. And here we have a bit of information about salmon. So they must have a lot of salmon in this river. It is my favourite fish actually, salmon, so quite interested in this. So we've got a place called Ice Factor here, the National Ice Climbing Centre. That would be cool to try out. Just in the town of Kinlochleven. Beautiful views of all the hills. So just going over a bridge in Kinlochleven, and this is actually the start of the river that flows into Loch Leven. There is an optional trip out this way towards Grey Mare's Waterfall. It's probably about a mile or two away, so I'm not going to take that route today. We're heading over here and in this direction around Ben Nevis. There we go, public footpath to Fort William. See you in 24.5 kilometres. So there's a bit of a climb that goes out of Kinlochleven going towards Fort William, but it's only really in the first bit, probably in the first mile or two. You climb 300 metres of elevation, and it stays fairly flat before a descent towards the end of the stage. Right, Andy.
Oh, back on. Summer down there, isn't it?
Nice view over Kinlochleven. Looks like we'll be going around the corner, and last time we'll see that. It's a bit of a tough start to today, that little climb through the woods. We probably did about 200 metres of elevation through there. It did get quite warm and humid in there going uphill, with not much, with all that tree cover. So we've come out, we're probably about 250 metres up now. It's flattened out a bit, and there's a bit of a breeze up here, which is a bit nicer. We've got some lovely views going over Kinlochleven. Look at that. So we're just coming up for about 5k into the final stage, stage 8 of the West Highland Way, between Kinlochleven and heading towards Fort William. So we're just going in between the two mountain ranges. So how are we feeling today, Andy?
A little bit rough, I think. This road's a little bit rocky. It's not the most walkable.
No, it's a little bit tough underfoot on this terrain. It's nice and flat though when we're on here. But yeah, I thought we'd check in at 5k. We'll check in a bit longer, a bit later along the route. We are heading sort of round the Ben Nevis mountain range, and then we'll be heading up towards Fort William. So we've got a bit of an old ruins here. You can see in there, little fireplace, sizable room there.
Yeah, alright, thank you.
And then another room here. Again, another fireplace, bit bigger room this one. So I'm not sure what this used to be. It's got a lovely view. Oh, and here's your spot for wild camping. Look at that. You got a good few tents in there. Ah, look at that view to wake up to. So we have about 10 miles to go of stage 8, and we've just rounded the corner of the route. So a few views going off there, and then if we follow this path straight on, it takes us all the way back to Fort William, albeit a bit of a long way. Here we are on the map, so we are up here. Fort William is not too far away, and this is how far we've come, all the way from just outside Glasgow. So we just passed the 7.5 mile to go point, which is about halfway on stage 8. So we've just got a little bit of a climb up these roads, and we're just following along the side of, we'll be getting to Ben Nevis soon, so we might see a little bit of a glimpse over Lochlinny on our left hand side before we hit the next mountain, but we should be able to see a bit of Ben Nevis on our right hand side soon. So there's just under 6 miles to go in the last stage, and we've just had our first glimpse of Ben Nevis. So you see it on the shot there, but I'll just pan round. It's right in front of us, just there. Today probably wouldn't have been a good day to go up, as it looks like it's a bit cloudy on top. We had originally planned to try and factor Ben Nevis into our walk, however it's probably a little bit too long for today. It's a long day anyway. We've got to, it's 2:10 already. It would take a good sort of 4 or 5 hours to get up and down Ben Nevis, as well as the rest of the day's walk, which is about 5 or 6 miles too. So yeah, we're going to give it a skip today. We're quite glad it's cloudy on top, because if it was a perfectly clear day, I'd have been kicking myself not for going up it. So we're just approaching the last hill of the West Highland Way. Just in the background there, heading up towards the forest. And then all from there, it is a gradual descent back towards the Glen Nevis campsite and back to Fort William. One thing to mention about this stage, for leaving Kinlochleven to Fort William, is that it's quite a long stage compared to all the other 7 of the 8. It's 25k, but there's also not an opportunity to refuel and refresh on your snacks and drinks on the way. So we've been sort of walking since we left Kinlochleven, probably about 10 o'clock. We've been walking for about 5 hours or so, and probably should have stocked up on a few more drinks. Back at the co-op at Kinlochleven, there's plenty of places to get drinks there, but yeah, we've run out a little bit now. Just going to make it to the Glen Nevis campsite, where there is a cafe, and we'll be able to get some water there. So probably only a mile or 2 away from that now. I'm not going to try and pronounce that, but there was a hill fort here. It says it's around 2,000 years ago. Possibly could have a little detour on and see that down this path this way, but we're just going to head down towards Ben Nevis. Coming into the last 3 miles now. Fort William, this way. 15 mile an hour speed limit. I think we'll stay well under that, don't you worry. So we've got about 4.7 kilometres to go. Just heading through the forest now towards Fort William. We'll be passing the visitor centre for Ben Nevis soon. I'm really dying for a drink here actually, so it'll be a welcome relief when we get there in hopefully about 10 minutes. Oh, we're within about 200 metres of the visitor centre now, and it does shut in 20 minutes, so that was excellent timing today. So just leaving the Glen Nevis visitor centre now. It did shut at 4, so we made it just in time. Managed to get a quick drink before going, and we've got about 3.5 kilometres left to go. So the final stretch now, and we'll be back to Fort William. So a bit of good news and bad news. The good news is that we've reached the end of the Highland Way. The bad news is this was the original end of the West Highland Way, so we've still got about another mile left in that direction. So we've made it into Fort William. Welcome to the fort town. So just down the high street now. Let's get to that little statue and have a sit down next to the bloke. Just about 500 metres to go. Last little stretch now.
So glad to see this high street.
I reckon it should be somewhere down the end of the high street. Well, we've been on the high street for quite a while. This seems like the longest high street I've walked down. How about you, Andy?
It's never ending, this one. But I believe it's at the end, next to Wetherspoons, I believe.
Yeah, you can just see a bus going up in the end. I think we're nearly there now. Loch on my side. So Andy tells me that the finish point's at the Wetherspoons. I hope it's not at the toilets because I've done enough steps today. Do without that. I think we're there. I think we're there. There we go. There's our finish point. Let's go and get it, Andy. Let's go and get it. Let's go. Here he is.
Well done, it.
Well done, Andy.
Can you sit down like it? Oh. Go foot, go leg up. Oh. Sit down.
So this is the West Highland Way path, just heading back down to Tyndrum. Make out, just running alongside the railway. We saw that crossover many times on our way up. Made it back Friday night to Milngavie train station car park. How are we, Andy?
We've done it, mate, we've done it.
We've done it. We've done it. We originally planned on camping in Fort William and coming home tomorrow, but we just decided to get back early. Probably going to sleep in the car tonight in Carlisle on the way back, and yeah, job well done. Well done, Andy.
Well done, good work.
So if you've got this far, we made it. We did the West Highland Way within 4 days. So to recap, that's the 96 miles, give or take, of a route. We probably did close to 100 miles. We're getting lost slightly on the way. But for day one, we ended up at Road Cherish Boffey to camp there. We stopped at Tyndrum on day 2. So we stopped on a campsite and had a bit of a hostel there at Tyndrum on day 2. We then did a wild camp around 5k from Kinlochleven for our day 3 night, and then we did the last sort of stage and a half up towards Fort William on day 4, and then took that train back on the evening of day 4 to get back to Milngavie to the train station. We did actually drive back in the night, so we're from the Midlands in England. We did drive and have somewhere to stop in Carlisle the following night. So we didn't have any accommodation booked for that night, so we did end up sleeping in the car close to our accommodation in Carlisle, and then had some accommodation for the following night. So if we were to do the walk again, what would we do differently? So there's a few little things we thought about after the event, and hindsight is a wonderful thing when it comes to things like this. And I guess the main thing that we would do differently was to think about having lighter packs. So we did carry our tent on our back, which is brilliant. We wanted to take the opportunity to wild camp in Scotland, as there are no laws to wild camp in England, and it's a bit of a novelty for us to do this. But to take our tents on our back and all our sleeping stuff, it did make our packs a little bit heavier. So even if there are little things you can cut out of your backpacks to keep the weight down, and only just take maybe enough snacks for the day, things like that, just try and keep it as light as possible, because it does make the walking a lot easier, especially if you want to move quicker through multiple stages in one day. The other thing we can look at is the route choice. So if you are pushed a little bit for time and don't want to do it within sort of 4 or 5 days, the whole route does take around 8 to 10 days. You can probably do a stage a day and do it comfortably within 8 days of walking. So if you did only want to do half of this, we were thinking that maybe if you started at Tyndrum rather than at Milngavie, so you're halfway up the trail, started at the start of stage 5, and going from Tyndrum up to Fort William possibly had the more dramatic scenery than the first part that went from Glasgow up along the side of Loch Lomond and towards Tyndrum. I guess the other thing that ties in with Loch Lomond is the blister plasters. We'd have definitely stocked up on a few blister plasters on the way, because as soon as your feet got slightly wet, as we said in the video, alongside Loch Lomond, this caused your feet to blister, and then that was very sort of hard going for the rest of the journey then. We would look into possibly getting a ferry across Loch Lomond. I know it goes against completing the West Highland Way and feels like you're cheating a little bit, but the scenery was very much the same along Loch Lomond, and any time of year it's going to be wet and very hard and rocky underfoot, which I think that was probably the main cause for our blisters there. So if we did get the opportunity to sort of speed up that little bit through Loch Lomond, we would do that next time. And I guess the other thing we could do is do the route in reverse. So we could start, get the train up to Fort William and then do the route in reverse. And it's, I mean, if you're doing a route in reverse, it's a totally new route, isn't it? It looks completely different if you're going the other way around. So if we were to do it again, those are a few things we'd think about. Last of all, if you've made it this far, I'd just like to say thank you for watching and listening to us over the last probably an hour of your life if you've checked in and made it this far in the video. So really appreciate all the views, people subscribing and commenting. I'd really like to hear your own experience of the West Highland Way as well. So if you have took anything from this video and then go and decide to do the West Highland Way, possibly in the summer of next year or any time you decide to do that, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. So just drop us a comment and like and subscribe the video. I will go on to saying about how this channel normally works. So people who usually subscribe to this channel see a lot of running content, because I'm quite keen at marathon running and going into a little bit of coaching side on the running. So in the new year, I will be looking at putting a few videos out back on the running side of things, and possibly get a few videos of the Peak District too. So that might be of interest to people, a few guided walks within the Peak District, which I like doing at weekends, and then looking at doing some coaching content on the running. So that's what it's looking like going into 2024. Thanks for watching and have a great Christmas.